Hi everybody. So today we are going to recognize the different types of transformations. As you can tell, I starred four main ones that you really need to know. I'm going to talk about briefly about a fifth one that's not really recognized as one of the major transformations, but it's good to have an idea of the differences. So the first transformation, hopefully you remember. What does it mean to transform something? It means to change it in some way. So I might have like a shape or a figure like a triangle on a coordinate plane, like I have it graphed, and I might do something like move it or turn it or make it bigger or smaller or make it flip it somehow. So these are the different transformations. I want to make sure you understand the difference. So starting with a translation. A translation is when you move an image. I call it move or slide. It's just changing its location. And the way that I remember that is like a translation it's a transfer. Like a transfer. So for example, if I have a triangle here and I have an A, B, C, after a translation, so I'm moving it up and to the right, it will end up, I'm actually just going to make this easy, copy and paste, here. But now, if you remember, it's called A prime, B prime, and C prime after something has happened to it, a transformation. So that's a translation. It's just a move or a slide where you transfer from one place to another. A reflection, now when you see a reflection, it's in the mirror, so it's a mirror image. So let's say you have this same triangle. I'm just going to try and stick to the same example. So here's ABC, and let's say I reflect it over this line. So then it would look like this, where this is C prime and B prime and A prime. That's a mirror image. So that's what it means to reflect. Now, it doesn't only have to reflect left and right. It can reflect anyway. So notice how I can move this and it'll always be a mirror image. Okay. The next transformation I'd like to discuss is a rotation. This is where you turn an image. Now you could turn it either clockwise or counterclockwise. Now counterclockwise is usually the positive direction, and clockwise is usually the negative. But we'll get more into those details as we throughout the week as we get to it. So this rotation is a turn. So again, I like to start with this same initial triangle, and then let's just say I turned it like this. It's not perfect, but there's a turn. So let me fix this. So here it's C, but then after it's turned, it's C prime, B prime, and A prime. So there's your turn. So notice the difference. For a reflection, it's more like a flip, where you flip it over, and for a rotation, it's turn. And then the last transformation I'd like to discuss is a dilation. This is where you make the image larger or smaller. Okay, but you maintain the shape. So again, we're going to start with that same triangle. Now if I want to dilate it, I can, oops, hold on. I can make it bigger. Oh, it wouldn't let me do that. or smaller. So that's the dilation. Notice it's the same shape, but a different size. I know I put it over on top of it. I could have put it next to it. So if I wanted to, I could have moved this here. So that's a dilation. And then the last one I would like to do is a stretch. Again, like I said, this is not a formal transformation, but it's nice that you'd be able to recognize it. This is where you, make it larger or smaller. In one direction. So either usually it's horizontal or vertical, and it changes this shape. So that's important that you recognize that. And what do I mean by it changed the shape? So notice how nice this is. Now, if I wanted to stretch it, let's say if I stretched it vertically, so if I stretched it up that way, so that means this bottom piece will stay the same. So BC will stay like that. And then if I wanted to stretch A, I could stretch it higher. So notice how it's not the same shape anymore. In terms of, the pointiness of this shape. Notice this one is exactly the same as this. One is bigger, one is smaller. The ratio of the sides are the same. So this is the longer side, the shorter side, the longest side. But now, here when I stretched it, this is now the longer side, and this is the shorter. This is still the longest side, but it's a different ratio of the sides because I've now stretched it vertically. So I stretched it this way. So it's stretch. Oops. So I want you to be able to recognize these. So I have a little worksheet. You could try the below. I'm going to actually just walk right through it. The last question I want to discuss is this word isometry. Isometry just means, is it congruent? So that's basically what it's asking. Is the shape and size still the same? So same shape and size. So let's do some of these examples. So if I take a look here, the triangle starts in the bottom left, ends up more top, further up, moves to the top right, but the shape stayed the same. So all that happened is the shape and the size is the same, and it moved. So since it moved, since it's just a move, this is a translation. Now if I look at number 2, see the triangle? The triangle turned, but the size is still the same. So it is isometry, shape and size is the same, but a turn means that it was a rotation. And if I look at the third example, it actually flipped. It's now facing the other way. So since it's a flip, but the shape and size is still the same, so it's still an isometry, it's a reflection. Now automatically for number 3, I could tell that the shape and size, it got a lot bigger. So this is not an isometry. Now, is the shape still the same? So it's a larger and the same shape. So since it's the same shape, it didn't stretch, that means this one's just a dilation, or it got larger. Then look at number 5. If I look at number 5, it also got larger, but it's a different shape. So for this one, it's still not an isometry because it's larger, but it looks like it got stretched this way. And then for the last one, still the same shape and size. Now this one's kind of hard to tell, but doesn't look like it got turned, because some people would say, hey, wait, this looks like I took this triangle and I turned it. Now if I turned it, look what happened. It would have been facing that way, but it's not. So it's not a turn, it's actually a flip up this way. It's a mirror image. So since it's a mirror image, if it's a flip, then this is a reflection. So hopefully you could recognize these transformations. That's what I wanted you to do for today. And make sure you complete the castle learning, and throughout the week we'll go more into detail for each of these transformations. And if you have any questions, please make sure to message me. Have a great day.